Early in the morning, before he could open his eyes, the phone rang loudly in his ear. He picked up the phone and realized it was his little sister calling to remind him that it was time to meet his homeroom teacher. Exactly 5 minutes later, Jinwoo arrived at the elementary school. The three of them, dressed in neat clothes, no different from a famous star, reminded everyone about the rules of this world. A little bit from the present time, it has been more than 10 years since the gates appeared everywhere on Earth. In a world where he had to raise a younger sister who is still of school age and care for a sick mother, Jinwoo, although only a lowly hunter at the bottom of society, defied everything and rushed into the dungeon to do black work instead. The first time he experienced it, he got lost in the double dungeon. The ending was, of course, death. However, there, Jinwoo broke free from the usual limitations that each person must know. Normally, each person can only awaken their abilities once and will not develop. Development leads to a rank that does not change, but Jinwoo is different. He is lucky to awaken a second time after facing death in the process of honing his abilities through battles. Jinwoo obtained in his hands the formula for the holy water of life that can cure all diseases. In addition, he also possessed a powerful army of darkness thanks to his abilities. Jinwoo was quite surprised to see the handsome appearance of On High. It was understandable, because how could Jinwoo wear gym clothes like usual to meet the teacher? Of course, it was accompanied by Nam Tram's inner attraction to girls. No female student at this age could see Jinwoo without falling in love at first sight. It's a pity that Jinwoo doesn't pay attention to him. He went straight to the teacher's office to hear more about Gina, which was not beyond expectations. Gina was very popular at school. He heard the homeroom teacher praise her for being an excellent student, both in character and in grades, and also an ideal role model for all students. Her mock test score was also within the range to get into the desired university. The teacher should have just told her family those things. But as for Jinwoo, because he is a hunter, he wanted to ask more questions. For example, if Gina awakens, will he support her becoming a hunter? After listening, Jinwoo definitely gave an opposing answer because he clearly understands the level. The danger of this job is greater than anyone else. The teacher doesn't know what to advise. She just dared to ask Jinwoo for something too outrageous, but when she accepted her request, Jinwoo quickly went to the front door to wait for Han. However, Do came out as soon as he saw him, showing the photo with her sister to verify it's true that this girl is her super close friend. Then she could start working. But Dee felt uneasy and immediately said that even if she was advised, she wouldn't quit being a hunter. Jinwoo calmly explained that if she joined some stupid team, the money would not be enough to eat, so it was most reasonable to join his attack team. Jinwoo emphasized that he was not asking for opinions but making requests, so the refusal was invalid, and Song-di could only silently follow. At the same time, at the airport, the manager of the Hunter Association, Zin Chun, personally came to pick up the floating hunter. Cantonese Su visited the land of kimchi because he was a dangerous element, so he got straight to the point about how long he would stay here. Dong Sutran and said he would leave soon because he originally did not like this country's words, which made Jin Chun feel uncomfortable. He wondered what the hell a person who had left the country was doing when he was hit by a black-hearted Trung. He was very angry and told him that he knew it, so he pretended to be blind and deaf. To be frank, Dong Su came here to prepare to fight Jinwoo and that gossipy, low-class hunter. If Jin Chun came here to stop him, then sorry, Dong Su wouldn't bother. In Jin Chun's eyes, he decided to avoid him. The steps stirred up the forest, so he denied that he came here only to fulfill his duty. Besides, Choi Dong-in was sitting in an urgent meeting with the president of the Gogan Association about the dangerous monsters. They were looking for ways to expand their territory. However, this matter is still quite vague, so they needed to investigate further. The more important issue right now was the Jinwoo hunt with a team arranged by the White Tiger side. This time, he brought along his twin sister to let her know the cruelty of his prestigious hunter status in the eyes of the managers, so when he introduced her, they all easily agreed. A hunter came to interrupt the conversation, wasting time waiting for the E-rank hunters to come and enjoy the achievements. According to the manager, he was an A-rank hunter named Kim Chun, in charge of the tank position. This A-rank guy was the captain of the hunting party. Tonight, let me briefly introduce the attack team. It will consist of 1 A-rank, 5 B-ranks, and 2 C-ranks. There will be 8 people in total. In addition, Jinwoo and Song-jae will be accompanying us as students, so the final result is 10 people in total. Jinwoo also stated that the team formation is not important. Whatever is fine. He was just worried about Song-di because he thought bringing her here would make her think again, but now she looked even more excited. Just before entering the gate, the manager whispered to Jinwoo to try to avoid new hunters losing their places to act. Just stay close to the gate. It was enough to say that Team M started the mission. Jinwoo was the last to step through the gate and immediately realized something was wrong, as if the energy flow had become out of control, turning the C-rank dungeon into a red gate. Jinwoo quickly pulled it open and ran back, but it was too late. He could only tell the two managers in time to quickly contact the main attack team, the White Tiger Guild leader, who immediately received urgent news. Moving to the scene of the incident, back to the Vanguard team, everyone was taken to a frozen world and literally locked up. Aaron Kim seemed to know very well about this type of red gate, so he boldly affirmed it. Songdi didn't know, so he turned to ask Jinwoo for a quick explanation. Different from the normal gate, this is a special type of dungeon. Once you enter, you will be completely isolated from the outside world. People inside cannot get out unless they kill the boss, or this place is especially flooded. Outsiders cannot enter to help, and the monsters here will be about 3 levels stronger. Just after he finished speaking, a member who was unlucky fell down from an extremely sharp arrow, but D would have followed if June hadn't been there to support them. They would have immediately looked in the direction the arrow came from and discovered several ice elves. They were extremely dangerous. When aiming at the 2 weakest people in the Jinwoo team, the more he thought about it, the crazier he got. He crushed the arrow in his hand. After understanding the situation, Captain Kim spoke up to announce that this dungeon was at least B rank or higher, so in order to survive, everyone had to return. The person who absolutely had to obey the captain's orders, then he himself was not strong enough to command everyone, so he decided to divide the team into 2 small groups. The reason he gave sounded very reasonable, but Chung Kui still eliminated some weaker people to easily survive. He guaranteed that those who followed would definitely survive. Of course, he only accepted hunters of rank C and above. Otherwise, a day here was equal to an hour outside, so at worst it would take about a few months here to defeat the boss. The weaklings who wanted to survive were forced to hide during that period of time. It sounds cruel, but this is the reality. Anyone would do the same. Yet there was still someone who took the initiative to go to the E-rank group. Captain Kim thought she was pitying them, so she agreed without knowing that this was the wise choice. She knew for sure that Jinwoo was definitely stronger than that selfish Kim guy. He didn't even feel the arrow just then, but Jinwoo was strong enough to block it. After dividing the teams, Captain Kim chose the main path to go, so Jinwoo would take the jungle path first. After that, the high-ranking team encountered the ice bear's scratch marks on the tree trunk. Captain Kim guessed that if the other side also encountered this mark, everyone would definitely die immediately. Then, from the front, a ferocious growl was heard. They were too surprised when the ice bears suddenly showed their faces and attacked. Experienced Captain Kim reacted promptly, raised his shield to block the attack, and then successfully destroyed the first one with a fatal blow. On the other hand, the Jinwoo group also encountered the scratch marks. The wise girl suggested turning back before the bear encounter, but Jinwoo thought to go deeper into the forest because if this area was the territory of the ice bear, then just be careful with it. It's better than the ice elves, who are as smart as devils. Hearing him say that, her eyes opened. She admitted that she was still shallow, so she would completely listen to Jinwoo's words. No one commented anymore. Jinwoo took out a warm coat from high-level storage. Songdi stood still for 5 seconds, asking Jinwoo to explain clearly what his true identity was. After hearing that, Jinwoo gently patted Dee's head and promised he would be responsible for protecting her for bringing her here, but in return, he didn't want to receive any questions from anyone in the group. Just as he finished speaking, an ice bear immediately appeared, and he changed his title to Killer Wolf to deal more damage. At the same time, the White Tiger Guild leader was present at the scene but could not do anything about the Red Gate. Now he could only hope that the hunters would be safe until the dungeon collapsed. Suddenly, a car sped up and got out. It was the traitor Dong Su. He had just arrived and was already rudely demanding that the chairman hand over Sung Jun. But seeing the Red Gate appear, he could only wait for the final result and couldn't do anything. Back inside, Jun took less than 5 seconds to defeat an ice bear, making the whole group gasp. Then at night, he still stormed into their lair alone, called the Shadow Army, and General Iset to light the detonator to begin the invasion. At first, his mana was consumed at a rather slow rate. But since the leader appeared, it had slipped with no break to 0. Only the general was left to exit one-on-one, but he did not expect to handle the Bear Lord so gently like that. In the future, the general would certainly surpass the owner. Besides, Captain Kim had just been raided by the Ice Elf tribe and was the only survivor, so he could only run towards the forest. And that's where we'll leave things for now. But let me tell you, the next part is going to blow your mind. You don't want to miss it, right? Hit that subscribe button now so you're the first to see it when it drops, and I'll see you in the next recap.